match against Mateus from Dream Art, another really tough kid from Brazil that I'd never faced before, but had definitely seen myself competing with him in the later rounds of this bracket. So we happened to be on opposite sides of the bracket. He won all of his fights on the other side, and I was able to finish all my fights up until this point. I knew he was a really tough competitor, and up until this point, I hadn't seen him at any of the major tournaments here in the US yet. So he was one of those guys that has been competing in Brazil and winning all the tournaments there, but just hasn't had the opportunity to come to the US yet. So going into this, I didn't really know to what extent his level was. I definitely knew he was good, but had never really seen him competing against somebody high level. Going into this, I knew he would be a guard puller, and I wanted to try and double guard pull and come on top. In the first double guard pull that we had, he was very adamant about staying on bottom and didn't want to come on top. So in the second one, I came on top and just committed to trying to pass his guard, and with that same mentality of putting pressure on him until they break and give the pass or take the back. I didn't get the advantage. I think I was late on the pull, but I think this was fine because I started coming up in a stacking position, a little bit different compared to the other fights that I was doing. But this was because I knew he would be trying to play that lasso game that a lot of the guys in this division like to play. So I used that grip underneath of my partner's leg to defeat the De La Riva and defeat him from going to the lasso. Even if I can't control my partner's collar, the belt is always there as well. And you'll see here that as soon as I broke his control, I started using long steps over the De La Riva, just trying to stay at a really far distance. You'll see how I maintain a really high posture throughout most of this match. And this is to try and open gaps on both sides of his guard with leg drags on one side and looking for that duck under on the other leg. I think he probably saw one of my earlier matches and knew that this was coming. But you'll see here, when I felt that he was closing the space, on this leg, I started digging an underhook with my right arm. And I used this to go to the collar and break the De La Riva control. And whenever I got to that position, I did a throw by through his leg to the side, landed all the way past the guard and with the seatbelt. And this is probably one of the controversial parts of the match where, in my opinion, I feel like the match should have continued in that same position. He said that his knee was hurt during the match. The ref stopped it. They had to bring the medics. And when we reset, the ref put me back in front of the guard. And in my opinion, I think it was one motion and should have started back in that position that I landed in, because the ref stopped the match once I had the seatbelt already. And there's really not a lot of potential for him to hurt his knee in this position, so I don't really see how that could have happened. But anyway, I think that this would have been the momentum of the match that I needed to get the finish. I think I could have done better in the later parts of the match about getting to another strong position like that again. But we end up resetting. We start back in the guard, and you'll see that it's more of the same whenever we reset. My head's on the side of his leg, but I'm not with the seatbelt, and he's definitely not completely turned to the side. So as soon as we start, you'll see he gives a big push to get his knee back in front. He's able to get his leg back in front, and then it's back to high intensity and trying to break his frames. And I go back to this same position again where I have the underhook on the leg, and again trying to look for that duck under here. I get pretty deep on it. I think now what I would do is I would be trying to use my knee on the inside pocket and load him up more for like a Berimbolo style back take. And this is something that I saw after the match that I think I could improve on. So I've been definitely doing a lot more drills and specific training from this position to make sure I don't lose it. But again, you'll see that in all of these exchanges, he's the one on the defense. And throughout this match, I really didn't feel that many threats from him on bottom. I don't know if that was just because of him feeling the pressure from the passing and him wanting to defend and focus on that. But I think that's the mentality that you should be trying to have whenever you're on top. is make it so so uncomfortable for the person on bottom that there's no opportunity for them to look for any sweeps or submissions, that they're just forced on keeping you away and getting tired. So most of the time you'll see that he's just framing and kicking me away while I'm on top. Here I get almost to a leg trap. And then here I think is like the last sequence of the match, where at the very end I turn the corner. I only scored an advantage for this because I wasn't able to secure the 3 seconds. But you'll see how I use another leg drag, go back to that over-under position, and use that to circle around to the north-south. So definitely wasn't the result I wanted. I was able to win the match, and that's good and everything, but the goal is always to finish all of my fights. And I think that even though I didn't get the finish in this match, I showed that I was able to attack and dominate the entire time, which is exactly what my professor always calls for. So going back to looking at the performance overall and as a whole, I'm really happy with the way it went, and really just seeing how much better I got since Europeans, and that was the goal. After Europeans, my professor told me that I need to keep getting closer and closer to the black belt level, and make sure that my focus is on that and not just winning titles at brown belt. That stuff is going to come if you raise your level to the level of the highest level black belts that are competing at the lightweight division. So that's exactly what I did, and thanks to the help of my team and all my professors, we were able to make the right adjustments needed to go out there and dominate this division. And now it's back to work, and we'll be looking forward to doing more of the same and dominating until I get the black belt.